Biology is a total mess. If you look at the human body, you'll see various organs and systems that appear tidily arranged with one job to do, but don't let that fool you. If you look at it at the cellular and molecular level, it's a tangled web of complex reactions where any component can potentially affect any other, often in unpredictable ways. Your cells, for example, use an intricate network of chemical signals to communicate with each other, and we are nowhere near being able to fully understand this system. Intuitively, one thing is certain. Pulling a single string of such a raveled chemical tapestry is bound to have ripple effects throughout it, and this has important implications for aging and our ability to undo it. Altered intercellular communication is the last of the 9 hallmarks of aging, and it consists of gradual, harmful changes to the chemical intercom that cells use to transmit messages to one another. The result of this signal degradation has a negative impact not just on how cells behave as individuals and groups, but also on their surrounding microenvironment, causing a system-wide spiral in which cell behavior affects cell environment, which affects cell behavior. The primary way through which altered intercellular communication manifests itself is chronic inflammation. In most cases, inflammation is actually more good than bad for you. It's your body's biological response to threats, such as infections and damaged cells. Inflammation is generally short-lived, meant to last long enough to get rid of whatever triggered it in the first place, but if it becomes chronic, it overstays its welcome, and rather than solving problems, it can make them worse. For example, it has been observed that chronic inflammation can contribute to the development of obesity and type 2 diabetes, and it might also lead to atherosclerosis, a disease that clogs up your arteries and causes heart attacks and strokes. Chronic inflammation can mess around with your stem cells too. Through a chemical cascade reaction of sorts, chronic inflammation may also contribute to bone fragility and muscle weakness, and it can impair the creation of new brain cells. Chronic inflammation is such a common feature of aging that scientists refer to it as inflammaging, and it seems to be the product of multiple causes. When a bodily tissue is damaged, inflammation kicks in to trigger repair processes, but if repair fails, damage will accumulate and cause more and more inflammation. Similarly, infections lead to inflammation that triggers an immune response that's supposed to get rid of infections. However, as you age, your immune system becomes less and less able to deal with infections, so they stick around for longer, and so does the inflammation they trigger. Cellular senescence, another hallmark of aging, appears to contribute to chronic inflammation as well. Senescent cells spew out inflammation-causing chemicals, and since these cells tend to build up with age, these chemicals become more abundant. It seems that senescent cells can screw around with intercellular communication in another way too, as they can induce nearby cells to become senescent, and that means that there's even more senescent cells around that can feed more inflammaging. Intercellular communication can fail in other ways too. Dysfunctional aged cellular microenvironments can fail to support cell populations, such as immune cells, and we have already established that an unhealthy immune system contributes to chronic inflammation. When I said that biology was an entangled mess, I wasn't exaggerating. The flip side of this mess is that if we can positively affect one of its components, this is likely to have positive effects on the rest of them as well. And there are different things that we can target to restore intercellular communication to the way it's supposed to be, such as other hallmarks, like cellular senescence. It's possible that long-term administration of anti-inflammatory drugs may counter chronic inflammation and therefore extend healthy lifespan. As a matter of fact, this has been tried out in both humans and mice with encouraging results. One statistical analysis of human populations showed that such a treatment might reduce the risk of death due to cancer, and an experiment showed that it significantly increases the lifespan of mice. However, neither of these was a human clinical trial, so don't go and start popping an aspirin a day. It seems that even the gut microbiome, the bacteria that live in your guts and deserve an episode of their own, affects the immune system, among other things. So, manipulating its composition through dietary interventions, for example, might help restore healthy intercellular communication. So, eat your vegetables. It also appears that different chemicals present in blood might accelerate aging or reverse aspects of it. Researchers have formulated this hypothesis following experiments of heterochronic... Yes! That! Thank you! Heterochronic parabiosis, and the name isn't the only disturbing thing about it. The procedure consists of joining together the circulatory systems of old and young mice. In some experiments, older mice were rejuvenated to some extent, for example, their hearts appeared less aged, and younger ones in other experiments were partially aged. For example, they produced fewer new brain cells. Hooking up together the circulatory systems of different people is just not a very good idea for a gazillion different reasons, so researchers are trying to figure out what it is in old and young blood that produces these effects. The Convoy Laboratory at Berkeley University, California, has done a lot of pioneering work in this sense. Among other things, it showed that old blood seems to have more negative effects than young blood has positive ones, at least in mice. This suggests that filtering out negative factors from old blood might be beneficial. Companies too are pushing forward this area of research. Olcahest is one of them, and at the time of making this video, its most advanced candidate drugs were in phase 2 clinical trials. Olcahest trials aim at inhibiting negative factors and replenishing positive ones to treat Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. Hopefully, they'll be successful. There are a bunch of other companies whose work might help address this hallmark, and you can read more about them on lifespan.io/roadmap, where we track the progress of aging research from the lab to the clinic. This episode covered the last hallmark of aging, and if you watched all of them, you know that aging really seems to be the result of incredibly complex interactions that we don't fully understand yet, but we're slowly getting there. The crosstalk between the hallmarks makes the problem very complex, but it might also work in our favor, because attacking one hallmark, like altered intercellular communication, may weaken others. So really, the glass is half full here. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Extend, and a special thank you to the Lifespan heroes, the people who make this show possible by donating monthly to lifespan.io. If you'd like to join them, visit lifespan.io/hero and make your pledge. By so doing, you also help lifespan.io organize conferences, crowdfunding campaigns, and more to advance and popularize research against aging. Finally, if you liked this video, please let us know in the comments below and share it with your friends. If you'd like to stay up to date about aging and rejuvenation, don't forget to go to youtube.com/lifespan.io and subscribe. Actually, that wasn't the last thing for this video. X10 is moving to its own channel. Here's the address, and you can already subscribe, but we'll be on a break until September to check a few things and make sure everything is ready. Thanks for sticking with us thus far, and see you in a couple of months.